welcome to the Value Menu Podcast. I'm your host, Moses Andre, and we have a very special guest in the building. Please introduce yourself for the people.
The smile on your face. My name is Queenella Gibson. I am a licensed realtor in the state of New Jersey and also a real estate coach. That I am. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter.
Congrats.
Someone's sister. I'm me.
You're you. That's the most
I'm
important
me.
one. That's the most important one. So I think you missed one.
I missed one.
Yeah.
What's that?
You are what I like to call a value adder.
Ooh.
You add value to people.
Okay.
Right?
I'll take it.
And we're going to get a little deeper on that
Okay.
later in the show.
Okay.
But I want you, like, where you from? I
Okay.
want you to tell them, like, a little bit more, like, where you from, where, your upbringing and things like that. A little introduction.
Okay. I am from Newark, New Jersey. Born and raised. I grew up in the neighboring towns such as Irvington, East Orange. Currently in Bloomfield. But my heart is still in the city that I was born and raised in. That's where most of my memories come from.
Okay.
Is Newark, New Jersey. I mean, a lot has changed in the town. I'm sure many can say the same if they've grew up around the time that I was living in the city, which was like my high school year at Westside High School. The things that are happening in that school today is just totally different. It's totally different. The people are different. Still, the people, they look like us, but the mindsets have shifted. So they're pouring more into each other than fighting one another. Now, in my opinion, the Westside High School at the time, my principal didn't. He was very. I want to say my principal was loving and caring, but very militant. Today, people are just so creative. They're figuring out ways to just, like, while wait for someone else to get it done, we'll get it done ourselves. One act that I witnessed was the principal today putting a laundromat in the basement. So there's like a washer and dryer for those that were coming to school with the same clothes every day of the week, right? Wow. There's a pantry there. We didn't have that when I attended Westside. So that to me is totally different. Because when I was coming to school, kids were coming in early and leaving with lunch, trays of additional lunch like in their bags when they were hungry. Now you don't have to do that. So that's what I mean. It's shifted. Like the mindset of, I guess, the adults. Okay. I guess the teachers, the leaders,
Okay. Is there like a concentration that you went in high school, or it was just like general?
Just general.
Just general?
Yeah.
Okay. You went to college?
No. So okay. I made the attempt, but it didn't last. I wish I did. I wish I had.
Why you say
I went to school for international business.
International business.
Yeah. And I think it would have opened my mind up to many things that I'm not being exposed to today. I feel a little limited because I only know what I know.
I could fight you on that.
You could fight me on that?
Yeah, because I was a finance major.
Okay.
And I had a class on entrepreneurship, and the professor was an entrepreneur. So it's kind of like...
Well, look at it this way. Sometimes we pour into people and we're able to give people the right tools to use, and they apply it and it actually works for them. But we don't apply those same strategies, those tools, for our own problems or our own day-to-day life. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's like if you're going through something today, I could probably encourage you, empower you to be great. But then when you walk away and I go to my own space, I'm putting myself down like, you can't do it. You can't make that happen. Like self-doubt, right? So I don't think because, someone's teaching you how to be an entrepreneur and they're not one themselves, it doesn't mean that they're not giving you accurate information or information that you can actually use as useful information. It may just mean that they don't have the same drive as you do, or they don't have the will. They probably just don't care.
Okay. I could take that.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're gonna do it back and forth here.
No, that was a good. That's actually a great rebuttal.
It's the truth, though. I mean, we do it all the time.
Yeah, even though you're probably not personally into something, you probably could still give some type of
right.
advice.
I can tell you how to get to the moon, but I'll never go there. Right?
I like that.
Right.
That's a great
Someone said that
analogy.
to me, and I was like, I'm gonna use that one day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that saying one day.
Word. That's dope. So I wanted to kind of touch on like your introduction to into the real estate industry
Okay.
and how you got started and why you chose it.
The saying, you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
Okay.
That's what happened. I was working with two or three realtors at the time. After the third one, I gave in and was like, I gotta go get my license and do it myself. Well, and it wasn't okay. So the idea wasn't for me to go get my license and to be active in the industry. It was more so to just understand what it is that I was doing, to know the process. So I went to school, took the exam, got my license. 2-3 months later, purchased a house. And then to see the reward of purchasing a home, pretty much my down payment I got back in a commission check. I was like, oh, really? Oh, I can keep this going. I can keep this going. But then the idea of helping people like me that didn't understand the process, I found joy in that. It was fulfilling. So I kept it going.
Okay. Can you touch on like kind of the back end of being a realtor? Because I know a lot of people want to be realtors because it sounds sexy, right? Real estate sounds sexy, but they probably aren't aware of certain like intricate things that are in the back end, like a brokerage or commissions or, just like things in the back end that's kind of like, all right, these are things you have to know in order to like find a brokerage or like some company that you want to work with and things like that. Like, so I want you to kind of like get into that a little bit.
So I'll talk from my perspective of when I first started. I thought that the moment I had a license, I'd be selling homes immediately. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
So you get your license today. If you don't have a reach of any sort, where the moment you share that you have a license and that you can represent someone in a real estate transaction, if you don't have anyone that you can touch, it's going to take you a while before you have the opportunity to actually be active in the industry, because it's hard work. It's hard work. And then when you do come across the opportunity to actually represent someone, it takes about 45 to 90 days before you're paid. And in between then, you're paying fees if you're at a brokerage that is charging monthly, charging you monthly desk fees or printing, whatever the case may be.
Okay, so you get charged monthly to be at a brokerage?
Yeah, some, not all. The brokerage I'm with, no, but it's common. It's a common thing. You have to think about what you have to invest in yourself. You have to buy business cards.
Of course.
If you have to put a house up for sale, you have to purchase that for sale sign. Your attire, if you're not one to dress up, you have to go out and shop and buy some shoes and suits. You have to look like a realtor.
You're an entrepreneur at the end of the day.
Exactly. But not everyone is prepared. Not everyone's ready, for that investment. So those are the things you want to consider. And if you're going to quit your 9 to 5, this is not like, and this is your main source, your only source, you have to wait about 2 to 3 months for a check. And then once that check comes in, you realize that $10,000, let's say, that would have, went into your pockets, maybe 40% of that is going to be shaved off and given to the broker that is sponsoring you. Right.
Oh, wow.
You said, wow. You had thoughts of being a realtor, and you turned your head like, maybe never mind.
Not necessarily. I like just the real estate industry. I'm more of an investor.
Okay.
I have like, I want to get into like investing into properties.
Right.
Not more so the agent aspect, but I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
and
hard
I'm
work.
sure a lot of people don't.
Right.
Because like I said before, real estate agent sounds sexy. Like,
well, it sounds sexy because it looks sexy on social media.
Exactly.
What people don't realize, when you see someone post a house that they're sitting or they're showing, they're doing a video of, that may not be their listing. And most of us that are not realtors will look at a house. We'll see you post a house today and you're like, yeah, I'm hosting this open house. Come see us on Sunday. I automatically will think that you're selling that house, when in fact you're not. That's someone else's listing. You're just there to host the open house. Okay? I may post new listing tomorrow. Yeah, it's a new listing, a new home on the market, new inventory. But that's not my listing. That's someone else's. I'm just posting. So I could post a house every day, and it's like, Queen is killing it. Yeah, but that's not my inventory.
That's not my house.
That's not my inventory. So it looks like it's sexy, and it sounds like it when you hear the word realtor. But no, there's a lot of realtors that make it look good, but they're struggling. They're struggling. And how do I know? Because they leave the real estate industry and they go get a 9-to-5.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with a 9-to-5. I encourage people to keep your 9-to-5 until your business can replace your 9-to-5, or keep the 9-to-5 and just let real estate, like you can manage the two. Why not have 2 streams of income, if not more? Keep it going, right? Pile them up. Especially if you enjoy your 9-to-5. There's nothing wrong with it.
So does the brokerage firm provide like benefits and things like that?
No benefits, no health benefits. And that's where the 9-to-5 comes in, right? If you want to if you have great benefits and you can't replace what you currently have, then why lose it? Especially if you enjoy the work that you do.
Exactly.
You know, you have some people that they're nurses and they love, you know, the workplace. Why leave? Because you think you're going to be a millionaire as a realtor? And you may. That could happen. But for what? If you don't have to. If you're successful in real estate and you're successful with your 9-to-5, do both. That's
smart.
Do both. You need a plan B, because the market goes up, it goes down.
Plan B.
You know, yeah, like right now it's cooling off, so it's gonna get quiet. Everybody's gonna be focused on the holidays. You know, not many are out buying or even selling their homes. So when there's less inventory, and that's what the news is, that's what you see on the headlines, you know, less inventory, and the buyers are resistant. They're hesitant about getting into the market. Well, then that means less paychecks, less checks are being written.
Exactly.
That means less realtors are getting paid, or they're not seeing the same numbers they were seeing before.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
And when you spoke earlier about things that you post may not be your listings, is that some type of joint venture with other realtors? Or how does that work?
If you list a house tomorrow, I don't even know you. I'm gonna say, hey guys, look what's going on in East Orange. This house just listed for $585. If you're buying and interested in seeing this, you know, text me or send me a message in my DM, and I did a video in front of the house. I'm just trying to get a buyer.
Okay.
Or if we work in the same office and I walk up to you and I'm like, hey, you want to do an open house for your listing this weekend? Is it okay if I host it? You say, sure, okay. I'm going to do the same thing. Hey, come visit, you know, in hopes to, you know, get business.
So, all right, I'm trying to understand this. So you're talking to the seller.
I'm talking to the listing agent. The listing agent is representing the seller.
See, that's
a buyer's agent is representing. So, okay, we call the seller's agent, the buyer's agent. Listing agent and seller's agent interchangeably, like it's the same. Right. All right. A listing agent is the seller's agent that listed the house. Listing agent, buyer's agent. Then you have a dual agent. A dual agent represents both the buyer and a seller, but that happens when the transaction is actually going on. So if I double in the deal, you might hear that term. I'm representing the seller and I'm also representing the buyer, and we have a deal going on. That's a dual agent. Okay. But going back to what you were questioning, if I say I'm working with the listing agent, or I'm asking the listing agent or the seller's agent, that is a person that is shaking hands with the seller, and that's the person that's getting paid once that house sells. And I could host an open house there. I can do whatever. I can market it and all. When a house sells, the only person getting paid is the seller's agent, the listing agent. Unless I bring a buyer, then I would be the buyer's agent.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
So I'm only going to use that house to leverage, hoping to attract business. From a buyer or potential seller that lives in the area, or just anyone that's online, like, oh my gosh, she's busy. It's all hype.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, why not?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, how do you know what to pick? How do you know what house to pick? Do you look for certain specifications in the house? Do you look for like a multifamily? Are you like a single family person? What do you look for when you're looking for, all right, I want to market this house?
Market a house? Okay, you have some people that would prefer luxury homes.
Yeah.
And publicly, they will market those luxury homes, but silently, they will work with rehabs.
Yeah.
Because it's not their, it doesn't, you have to think about your brand.
Yeah.
Right? I was just telling one of my mentees this 2 days ago. I said, look at your Instagram and let me know if it tells a story. If it doesn't tell you a story, then you're doing something wrong. We have to go back and tell the story. So you have some people that tell the story that I'm a luxury agent. I work with high-end, and then you have some that are like, I work with investors, rehab. You see a bunch of fixer-uppers, right? Or multifamily homes. You figure out what your niche is.
Yeah.
For me, when you go to my page says I work with people. I work with underserved underserved communities. Anyone that doesn't have the education, that's who I serve. That's who I want to attract. The goal is to attract business and not have to chase it. When you first start, yeah.
That's a gem.
When you first start real estate, as I did, I took on anything. There was nothing specific. If you were a tenant, I wanted you. If you were a landlord, I wanted you. Buyer, seller, whether you were up north or down south, if I had to drive an hour, 2 hours, I was there because I was hungry.
Right.
Then you burn yourself out. Mm-hmm. Or then you realize, some buyers or some sellers are not really motivated.
Yeah.
And I'm wasting my time here. They, have the same characteristics, just a different face, a different name. Right? So for me, it was just like, all right, what makes me happy? What's going to keep me in this business? I want to work with people that I can hold your hand and guide you and educate you. And I feel like you appreciate it. Whereas, or even investors, they have the knowledge, but they know what they want. And it makes my job easy to find a rehab property or something that's going to require a lot of work, but the other stuff, you make it easy for me because you are already you're the driver. You're the driver. I'm just out. I'm winging it with you, But I don't want to be in the driver's seat and the passenger seat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the driver's seat trying to manage and fix everything and put things together and then have to make the decisions for you because then when something goes wrong, who you're going to blame?
Exactly.
Right? So I enjoy that part. I enjoy educating people. So that's my focus is people that first-time home buyers, first-time sellers, and investors.
Okay. So I got two questions for you for that because you said a lot. First and foremost, I like how you said that don't chase it, attract it. I think a lot of people could take away something from that because especially people who are new into business and being entrepreneurs, they chase a lot of things, right? Not knowing there's some things you kind of have to decline. And there's something you have, some things you accept. My question to you is, when did you learn that you wanted to be that type of realtor? When did that hit you?
That hit me during the pandemic.
Okay.
During the pandemic because I realized what am I doing? Girl, what are you doing? Every day you're waking up and you're chasing business, but your children, they're teenagers now. And it was an overnight thing too. The pandemic to me, it seemed like my kids went from babies to adults. Overnight. And I realized what was more important was that I didn't chase the bag. It was more so be who you are and figure out a way to expose that. And always have a call to action. All right. So expose who I am and I will attract those that want to work with me. Every business, every deal, every seller, every buyer won't be for me. And I'm not trying to push the idea that I'm the best. I shouldn't have to tell you. I should walk in a room and you kind of get the idea, right? So because I desire that so badly, I felt all right, what platform can I use where I can send out that message, right? or I can have people speak about me before I even enter the room. So the referrals, right? I want to attract referrals. I want to attract business from people that genuinely like me, they trust me, and they want to get to know me, because that's what people work with, people they know, like, and trust. So I use social media, going to networking events, being strategic when I go to networking events. Sometimes I could be a little messy, drinking and dancing and having too much fun.
Singing.
Right? But that's...
Singing.
I do all kinds of stuff, singing, dancing, having a lot of fun. But I know who to connect with before, that happens. Because if, for example, the guy recording everything for you, if I needed to get to him, but I don't know him, didn't shake hands with him, don't know his name, but you do, and I need to get to him, I will hang out with you and follow you around until you line up, you're standing side by side with him, and then I will introduce myself and figure out a way to make sure that I make an impression, so that way now I could call you by name. What's your Instagram? What's your social media? And I hope you see what I have going on and you would be willing to do business with me. So if I know someone important will be there, or someone that can help my business grow, I will show up. I will show up. I will dress my best, and I know exactly what I need to say to you, because I've already done some research. I know maybe I know you're into baseball or what type of music you like. I may not like that artist, but I'm gonna learn a few lyrics. That's what networking is all about. It's about building relationships, and genuine relationships.
Yeah.
And you have to give before you get. So what could I give you? And then in return, you feel like, Queen, thank you so much. Like, I owe you. Oh, yeah, you do? Well, can I get? Can I get? So that's how we should network. And again, attract opportunities, because you have some people that won't pick up a phone call and call a stranger. They leverage the people they know, and they're doing amazing just by doing that, just by leveraging their sphere and tapping into, the people that already know them.
The power of networking.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's worse? A motivated seller that is not like, so a motivated seller that seems to be motivated but ends up not being motivated, or a motivated buyer who seems to be motivated but is not really motivated?
Both.
It's the same? It's equal? Because
both can kill a deal.
Oh,
wow. I think it kind of falls on you. You should always ask the right questions.
Okay.
When deals fall apart or fell apart in the past, well, to this day, I still do it. If a deal fall apart, I write the reason why, right? And what could I have done differently to make sure that didn't happen? Maybe I didn't give them the confidence they needed to move forward. Or maybe, for example, I remember a deal, like my first year fell through because of an inspection. I always tell my mentees this, like, a deal fell through during an inspection. What would have been like a $200 job, a $200 job, looked scary. It appeared to be scary, and you thought it would be thousands, but it really wasn't. Sometimes it's just having information, because if you're uncertain, what happened? Now you're anxious and you're fearful, and you're like, I don't even want to go near it. I'm walking away. I tap out, right? But when you have the information, you have the knowledge, it's like, okay, it's $200. All right, what's the problem? Let's move forward. I'm not going to kill a deal over $200. Or if a buyer, if a seller says, we want $1,000 more. Okay, $1,000 more. Let's say $1,000 is just $25 more your monthly payments. Is it really that serious?
No.
Well, not 1,000. I think it's 5 or 10,000. A lender would say they can. You can fact check that, but I think it's maybe 5,000 or 10,000 more. It's only $25, a month, in addition to what you already have. These are the things that I usually see people kill deals over. That the seller wants more money, or the buyer is asking for credits. Or repairs, rather. A repair that may not cost a seller much, but because of the idea that they have to come out of pocket,
to do it,
not even knowing what the number is, they're like, kill a deal.
Damn.
Yeah, so always treating it like a business and making improvements. So asking the right questions, you'll know how motivated somebody really is, and then figure out, all right, What's your fear? Why won't you move forward? Okay, let me try to find a solution. You may have more options than you know, and then let's make an intelligent decision and not, let's be logical here and let's not be emotional.
That way you limit the back and forth.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My next question for you is, what is it like being a woman, a female, right, in this industry, like the real estate industry?
Right now I'm okay. I feel like being a female in the industry, especially with my bald cut, I feel like I get some love and respect because, for those that know me, they know I'm knowledgeable. They know it's not much you can say to get over on me. But one fear I once had was getting pregnant.
Okay.
You think of a fireman or a police officer. If it's a woman and she gets pregnant, I don't want to see a police officer showing up to my door to rescue me and she in her, third trimester, or even a fireman. Like, that's just not what you expect. And honestly, you're in no condition to do that type of work, right? The same thing for a realtor. I feel like it's looked at as a disease, like an illness, to see someone pregnant going up the stairs and trying to see your house and pricing everything. You may feel like, oh, I don't want to bother her. Or if I don't show up for an appointment, you automatically think it's related to my pregnancy.
Yeah.
Right? So, or a buyer that wants to see 10 homes, they feel bad. I don't want this pregnant woman getting in and out her car on a Saturday.
Do you think they see it as an illness, or they just like genuinely feel bad?
Well, I think they feel bad, but but when you see someone that's handicapped, you go, oh, let me hold the door for them, or
I see what you're saying.
That's what I mean. It's like, I'm not handicapped, I'm pregnant.
Right.
I'm not sick, I'm pregnant. So I think that's something that I'm not going to speak for all women, but I know that's something I thought about in the past because I wanted another child. Yep. I wanted a child in 2018, and I remember thinking to myself, like, if I get pregnant today, would business still be the same? Because you have to lift your open house signs. Like, is anyone going to feel like, queen, that's a disability right there?
I know that's like that. I don't know that to even think like that. That your pregnancy is gonna affect business. People should be happy for you,
right?
Not trying to like.
I mean, well, if I had an oxygen tank and I'm dragging an oxygen tank, hooked up to my nose, you might feel like, oh, that's not bothering him. Yeah. He on his way out,
Yeah.
Or if I'm in a wheelchair, how many realtors are in wheelchairs? So I just feel like it's the same, and I feel like you should just allow people to just prove themselves. Yep. But I feel just the way our minds are, we automatically limit people. So that was one thing that I thought as a woman would be a challenge for me if that were to ever happen. But today, I feel confident. I feel okay. I haven't experienced anything that makes me feel like, oh, it's because I'm a woman. Some men try to get tough, but I'm a tough girl, so it's like, what's up?
You seem very fierce.
Yeah, that's me.
Powerful. Yeah,
that's me. So it's like, what's up?
I'm not confident too.
The confidence is there. Yeah, so I'm unbothered.
Maybe that's a big. I feel like that's one thing I get from you. You're like real confident. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing about you that seems like frail or.
Well, I can be. The love, when
but you don't show it though.
You start to love people, then you be like,
yeah, but
but the confidence is still
there. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I feel like women who show confidence, I respect it because I feel like you guys have to get over all these societal,
right.
things that people portray on you guys,
right? And
you still have the energy to like overcome it and like show like, yo, I'm here. You get what I'm saying?
You gotta block the noise.
Yeah.
I listen sometimes because like I've been told you're overreacting, you're being emotional, and I hear it, and I sometimes think to myself, well, maybe I am, but I'm not gonna tell you, and I'll keep going, I'll keep going. But Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. I think the confidence, though, is needed, is necessary, because you also have to make it clear to people, I'm here to do business. All right? Don't think I'm trying to get something for free and I'm trying to hook up. I'm here to do business. Take me seriously, and whatever comes out of my mouth next, it's all about business.
Right.
All right? You got to make that very clear. Very clear.
That's dope. That's dope. All right, so I want to get into a little bit of like the meat and bones, right? I want to help people with this episode, right? I want to help people kind of get out the fear of home ownership, right? Because I feel like the way to build to bridge the wealth gap in our communities is to increase the amount of home buyers, right? And I feel like a lot of people fear like, oh, a house, everything that comes with home ownership, right? So I want you to kind of clear that up a little bit and give them steps on how to become a homeowner. So
first step would be budgeting.
Okay.
If you are struggling to pay your rent, you've been evicted a few times, you're not good with managing money, I wouldn't tell you to buy a house. I don't care what your income is. I don't care if grandma left you her trust money, like, you inherited some money or a home. I wouldn't take on that responsibility. If you don't understand how to manage money, you're probably going to blow it all, right? Get education. Get the education you need to understand, a lot about finance, budgeting, investments, right? Have the education, have the know-how. And if your debt is like, I want to say 2/3 of your income, don't do it. Don't purchase, because you're going to always feel overwhelmed, especially if your lifestyle, what's left over, you blow it, going out all the time and eating a lot. You really just don't manage your money well. Those are the people that I never push to buy. All right. It's okay to rent as long as you own a property. In my opinion, you have some people that bounce around from state to state, or they like to travel. They're never home. Right. Purchase an investment property. So if I'm talking to someone that is never at home, they work remote and they're bouncing all over the place, I would say get a multifamily or Airbnb. Yep. If you know how to find it, well, clearly you know how to budget money if you're able to travel all over the world, right? Figure out a way that you can make an investment, and if you're not going to be on the property, it can be managed well as far as the maintenance, right? So maybe a condo where there's an association that maintains the area, like the exterior of the home, and the only thing you really have to worry about is the interior. And the interior doesn't require much. Maybe it's just like an apartment, right? No major utilities, heat and hot water. Heat and water is all controlled by the building, the association, something like that. Something where it's less worry, less of a burden, right? If it were to go vacant, and has Airbnb opportunities, short-term leasing. If you are someone that wants to, you want to occupy the property, and it's like, well, it's me and my wife and she doesn't want to purchase a multifamily, right? Or an investment property. She wants a white picket fence, the nice yard, right? Single family home. Again, it starts with a budget. Know the neighborhood you're investing into. People are focused on the property and not so much the neighborhood. You may hate your neighbors. Like a bad neighbor will make you want to move quickly. And it's not like renting a home where you can leave the next year. Well, you may take a loss if you were to sell the next year, right? You think about your down payment. If you're purchasing a house, the minimum down payment, the lowest I've heard is 3%. That's a conventional loan, or 3.5% of the purchase price. That's a FHA loan. You have your down payment and then your closing costs. So your closing costs could be anywhere between 3 and 6% if you're North Jersey. South Jersey, a little lower because it's not as expensive. Like the taxes aren't as high, the fees aren't as high. So anywhere between 2 and 5, South Jersey.
Yep.
But all of that money that you're investing in a home, if you're trying to move a year later, you're going to blow it.
Yep.
So know that when you're moving into this home, you expect to stay there at least minimum 3 years, 3 to 5 years. That's safe to say that at that point, you have built some type of equity where you didn't take a loss.
Okay.
All right. So once you figure out which neighborhood you want to invest in, talk to a loan officer first to know your budget. And once you know your budget, stay within your budget. Like, don't go beyond it. Don't go above it.
Okay.
Because the loan officer doesn't know your lifestyle. So on paper, you may be eligible for X amount of dollars, and they say you can manage $2,500 or $2,500 monthly payment, but maybe you've never paid that amount before, ever. The most you've paid is $1,800 for an apartment. Ask yourself, can you handle that $2,500? And if your lifestyle will align with that, because maybe although you can afford $2,500, they don't know that you go out every weekend. Like the scenario I gave earlier. Maybe you go out every weekend, or you like to buy designer, and blow your money. You're not great at managing your money. Only you will know if you can handle that monthly payment. So it just, honestly, the budgeting. Master that, get educated, know where you want to invest, and know that you're going to be there at least 3 to 5 years.
Okay. For those who are scared or hesitant of the recent, the interest rate hike, and they're like, oh, I don't want to buy a house now. What do you say to those people? Because I know there's a lot of investors who really don't care.
Right.
So what do you say to those people? Let's say their budgeting is good, right? They're ready to purchase. They just are, hesitant of the 7% interest rate.
They're not motivated. Okay. You talked about the motivated buyer. That wouldn't be a motivated buyer.
Okay. Because
your why would outweigh whatever the rates are. You would just figure out what's affordable and stick with that idea. They were complaining when rates were 2.5, 3%.
Yeah.
Right? Why? I don't want to buy in this market. Everything's selling above the asking price. People waiving appraisals. I'm not spending over the asking for no house. Okay, now you don't have to, but the rates are high. Oh no, I'm not paying this for no house. Just like, you're really not motivated. You're really not motivated, because if you were, you would have purchased then. You would purchase now.
Right.
Because the only thing that would matter to you is, does it fit my budget? That should be the only thing you're concerned about. And honestly, the house that I purchased in 2017 wasn't the dream home. The closet space aren't so great, but we made it work, and that's what it's really all about. How can I get into a home and build equity? Because I'm not going to make, regardless of what you invest in, right? I feel like real estate, you have a higher chance at seeing, 6 figures, a 6-figure check in 5 to 10 years when you're cashing out on a property.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If you have a large portfolio, that's your retirement money. You know what I mean? Keeping money in the bank, what's that going to do for you when the value of the dollar decreases every day?
Every day.
So what are you talking about? 7% is too high? You were complaining when we were at 2.5, 3% because people were buying over the asking. So what are we waiting for?
I hear MG say this all the time.
What?
When you're renting, you're paying 100% interest.
Oh.
He says that all the time.
You're paying 100% interest. Yeah. To me, you're not really motivated. And that's why I say, I listen. You can kind of hear. You can hear it in the language, the word choices that they use. It's like, all right, you're gonna waste my time. You're gonna waste my time. Because if your why was stronger than your why not, why I'm not doing it,
you'd figure it out.
Yeah, you figure it out. Even if it means, all right, I can't afford Newark, but what's going on in Somerset? All right, what's going on in Woodbridge? What's going on South Jersey? Let's have that conversation. But when you're telling me flat out, I'm not buying because the rates are high, okay, Do you know the 7% rate? Do you know what that means for you? At least, did you do research? Did you educate yourself?
Right.
Do you know what you're saying no to before you decide that you're not going to buy because rates went up? You don't even know what you're saying no to.
Right.
And just because you're at a 7%, because they're saying, rates went up, your rate may not be even nowhere near close. The average person may receive that rate, but for you, it might be lower.
Exactly.
Did you look to see what other products are available out there where you can find a competitive rate? No. So again, are you really motivated?
Exactly.
I don't waste my time.
And I had to even get informed about the products and programs that are out there. A lot of people don't know that either.
They don't know. They have resources because they don't ask.
They got the down payment assistance.
Right.
All types of things.
Right. There are grants available. I'm sure they ran out at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Right. But still, let's have a real conversation. If you're serious about it, then you would ask the right questions. You're not going to say rates went up. Okay, I'll wait till they go down. Okay, when they go down, then guess what's going to happen? The same that we experienced before. When the rates went down, the banks were pretty much giving away money for free. Everybody and their mama will be in the market, and then homes are going to be selling above the asking price. So when you're going to buy, it's never going to be perfect.
It's never going to be a perfect time.
No, it's never going to be the perfect time is now.
The perfect
time is now when you're ready, willing, and able to buy.
And now stands for no opportunities wasted.
No opportunities wasted. I like that. But yeah, period.
That was a lot of sauce. That was a lot of gems. So for my other question, what would you recommend to people who are looking to get their real estate license, or they're trying to be a real estate agent? What would you recommend to those people, or new realtors? Training. Okay.
I was having a conversation with someone earlier today. Training, please, because it's making the seasoned, experienced, knowledgeable realtors look bad when you don't have the proper training and you're representing buyers or sellers and they're having these bad experiences, and now there's the stigma all realtors are bad, all realtors are about commissions, they don't care about us, right? And then when they meet with someone like me, they become a for sale by owner. They just don't trust us. They don't trust us. And it has nothing to do with the professionals that are out here doing things the right way. It's because of the inexperienced realtors that are coming into the market, and they are choosing a commission over education. That's all they're focused on. They don't want to improve. They don't want to know, how it's done. They just want a quick check. Right? So it's that commission breath. That's all I smell. Baby breath, commission breath.
That's
commission breath. That's all you smell is commission breath. And they don't know how to talk to the clients.
Yep.
And they're not dealing with people. They're just it's just a deal. Right? So a new agent, please, I encourage you to get the proper training you need, because then you can withstand any type of market. Regardless of the condition, having the education, having the knowledge, understanding the method behind, some of the things that you're doing, why it works, why it didn't work, things to avoid, the do's, the don'ts, to make you a better agent. Is it about making the most money, or the legacy you leave behind and your reputation, right? Because you may be some of these artists, a one-hit wonder. It feels good now, but how long will you last?
Right.
You know what I mean? If it's a long-term goal is to be a great realtor, get the proper training, get the education, shadow people, join the team, get a coach. Even if you're seasoned, you should have a coach.
Right.
You need an accountability partner. I think the two most difficult things being an entrepreneur is discipline and consistency. Right? When you have someone that gives you a schedule and tells you need to be here Monday through Friday or you're getting fired, right? You have no choice but to be consistent, have discipline, and show up and be on time, right? But when you don't have anyone, and there's no consequences other than you just don't get paid, right? And that's the only consequence, you kind of fall short. And then you find yourself depressed, sad, or wanting to give up because things aren't going your way, right? So have a coach, even if you are seasoned, someone that can hold you accountable and make sure that you commit and make things happen. And whatever challenges you're facing, maybe it can be addressed having a fresh set of eyes, looking in from the outside.
Right. That's deep, because you basically said always remain a student.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Because one thing that I had to learn myself was coaches have coaches.
Oh, yeah. I have one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a coach, but I have a coach.
Exactly.
Right.
Everybody it's always someone pouring into someone.
Right.
Right. I like that sound. It's always someone pouring into someone, right?
Right.
And I feel like that has a lot to do with arrogance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And thinking you know it all. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of new, people who probably are new agents, right? They might be new to the entrepreneur type of field. They might not know how important personal development is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right? So they're, like you said, they're so commission driven that they put the education on the back end.
Right.
And that's.
So for me, it's also while coaching, again, pouring into people.
Yep.
It can be exhausting, right? Because you're watching others grow and excel, and it's like, wow, I told him to do this, he applied it. I told her to do this, she applied it, and look at them go, And then you look back at what you're doing, and you're like, wait, I tried to apply the same thing.
And it
didn't work for me. It's like everything isn't for everybody.
Yep.
And sometimes you have to be reminded of that. Sometimes you need someone to tell you you're doing a good job. Sometimes you need someone to tell you you're slacking. You're getting too comfortable. I don't know if you noticed, but you didn't show up, or you didn't show out the way you usually do. And, again, with it being exhausting, you need someone when you feel attacked because of all these different emotions, self-doubt. I'm not always confident. I can when I walk out my room, when I walk out my house, I'm in character, right? So it's different.
Yeah.
I know, people expect a certain person, right? So who I am with you, I'm not that way when I walk in the door with my mom. She gets a different version of me. And I'm more vulnerable there, right? Same thing with my coach. When I'm dealing with my coach, you get a different version of me. You're not getting the confident Queenella, so he's able to identify my weaknesses and help me to find strength there. So he's always making improvements, right? So you need that. You need somebody that you can just let your guard down with and be like, look, I tried this didn't work. And it's kind of discouraging to see others do what I suggested, but when I made the attempt to do it, it just didn't work out for me.
Right.
And he may say, yeah, because that's not your thing. Exactly. What are you doing? Right? You need to hear that sometimes. So yeah, always be a student. You want to always grow. They say when you stop growing, you die. Right? So
stop growing, you die.
Right.
That's a gem.
You stop growing, you die. So I'm always growing. It's always room for growth. Right. Always room for growth.
And I like how, as you're growing as a person, right, as you're growing as an entrepreneur, you're pouring into your community, right?
Right.
And let's talk about that for a little bit. That's why I called you a value adder at the beginning of the episode, because I've realized you give a lot of information to the community for free.
For free.
Right?
Right.
And it's like, wow, a lot of people aren't doing that.
No.
A lot of people aren't doing that. A lot of people are giving a lot of fluff, right, and they're not really getting deep into the meat and bones, but you're really giving information out here and helping the community. So my question to you is, why is that so important to you?
I want to say before you get, you have to give.
Yep.
Right? We know that. Before you get, you have to give. People have to feel like they owe you something.
Yeah.
Or people have to feel like, because you've done this for me, I have to repay you.
Yep.
What can I do for you? Right? I give out the education for free because what's the point in charging if the venue is free, If the sponsors say we'll pay for the food, then what am I charging you for?
Exactly.
I have the opportunity to be in front of you. I'll give you information in hopes the exchange will be whenever you decide to buy, or if you know someone that's interested in buying, that you'll mention me. And I'll make sure that I give you as much information that you need, so that when you apply it to your day-to-day life, you realize it works. You know, it wasn't any fluff. Right? And in return, you come back for more. You come back for more. I put a quote out months ago. I said, if when you improve yourself, you invest in yourself, and you improve, you also improve the lives of others that are around you.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that as I'm pouring into myself, that the others around me will also have more personal business development and the education they need to excel. And then I'm just hoping that they're going to look back and pull me along, you know, so we're pushing each other forward, constant. And it shouldn't be a charge. It shouldn't be a fee. You know, we're so quick to try to get a check, and that getting paid, it's only temporary. Those dollars I'm gonna cash out after I pay all my bills.
Exactly.
But if I could do something that you can't pay for, it's priceless. You'll always be in debt, and I'll forever be in debt to you. Right? As you pour into me and I pour into you, we're forever in debt to each other. So that's how I see it. And I don't think I'll ever stop. Now, if ever I have to do a big event where I got to call on some heavy hitters like I did, right?
Yeah, maybe
then we got to probably put some money in the pocket. But outside of that, no, I feel like I'm gonna continue to do that. That's my philanthropy work. You know, I don't have a pantry. I'm not a pastor of a church, but I could create my own ministry and meet the needs of people through education.
That's dope, because a lot of people don't do that, so that's very admirable of you.
I appreciate it.
Right. And to kind of wrap this up, right? What's some of your goals in the next 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years. 10 years from now, my youngest will be 21. My middle child will be 23, and my oldest will be 26. My goal is that I would make them happy. They will look back and be like, "Ma, you did your thing. You know, I'm so proud of you." And my goal is to have them set up as adults, you know, where they don't need for anything. Okay. Where they can then, you know, use my platform to then go further in life, you know, and continue whatever work that I'm doing in their own way. You know, so that's my goal. It's not to be the best at anything. It's not to have the most money in the world. I'm a mother. So the only 3 goals I have are my children. I want to make sure they're straight, you know, and I want to make sure that they're proud of me.
That's dope. Yeah. Shout out to all the mothers. Right. Because you guys are like the strongest people on earth.
Mommies know.
You guys are the strongest people on earth, man. So I want you to leave the audience with one gem, right? Because they got a lot of information from this episode, right? A bunch. I want you to leave them with one gem that could possibly help them get their next property or something, you know, something along those lines.
A gem to help them get the next property. Your neighbor maybe sitting in your house. You don't necessarily need a realtor to find you a home.
Okay.
My aunt, I'll say her name, Aunt Jackie. My Aunt Jackie asked me to assist her in finding her property and the budget she had in mind, where she wanted to be, and what she expected of the home. I told her in today's market, it's like impossible. Yeah. And I was as honest and as real as I could be. And she took it upon herself. She was at work and she was telling everybody what she was trying to do. And her coworker was like, "Well, look, I don't know if they were going to Jamaica or down south, but they were leaving the state." And she said, "Look, I want to put my house up for sale, but I don't have a mortgage. So what are you trying to offer me? I didn't run any comps. I don't know what it's worth, but I'm not greedy here. You're a good person. So tell me what you could do." My aunt told her what she could do. She said, "Give me a moment, because I know I'm being nice, but I'm not trying to, get hustled either. I don't want to just give my house away." And she spoke with her realtor. Her realtor told her X amount of dollars, and she came down tremendously from my aunt. And that's how my aunt purchased a home without any representation. So don't even let the market stop you from buying a home. You know, your neighbor may be sitting in your bedroom. That may be your home. You never know. So speak up for yourself. You never know who's around you. Everybody you see is either a renter, a landlord, a seller, or a buyer. Everybody needs a house.
Right.
Everybody is living somewhere, right? So if it's a home that you need and you feel like a realtor can't get you the opportunity or whatever your budget may be, it seems impossible. It's only impossible if you're not out, you know, seeking the opportunities yourself. Make it happen. Just make it happen.
That's something I would never even think of doing, because when you think of buying a house or selling a house, what is the first thing you think of?
I need a realtor.
You need a realtor.
And I wouldn't, you know, like, listen, I'm a realtor, so it's probably crazy to hear me say this, right? Because, Queen, you stop in the bag. I'm just being real, you know. If it's something that's impossible, if I tell you, look, now isn't the time. Yes, I want you to save up as much money as you can so you can be ready. But in the meantime, let everybody know, you know, even investors trying to get their feet wet and there's no opportunity. Maybe your neighbor next door is willing to sell to you for dirt cheap because you've been neighbors for like 50, watch you grow up. You know, that's like family. You never know. You never know. Opportunities are everywhere. You just have to look for it.
Just gotta look.
That's it. Know where to find them. That's it.
Yeah, that's a great gem to leave the show with. So real quick, do you have anything that you want to offer? Or
visit coachwithqueen.com for more events, free events. We talked about a lot of free events. Free educational events. Coachwithqueen.com. I have a free buyer seminar coming up online via Zoom. It's actually December 2nd. The 5th and the 9th for those that are interested in knowing how, you know, the steps to know if you're ready. You know, we'll be able to identify who's ready and who's not. And if you're not, we'll show you how to get ready. And then for those that are maybe sellers and you purchase your home or refinance and you have that 2.53% interest rate, but you want to take money out to invest, we'll teach you, show you how to be a landlord. So that is free. I'll let you know when I decide to put a price tag to one of these events. But at this time, for now, coachwithqueen.com, see events for all upcoming events. That's
dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. And tell them where they can find you and contact you and things like that. Yeah.
Queenella, QUEENELLA _realtor on Instagram. And if you go, that's home. That's where I am most of the time. So I won't even mention Facebook and Twitter. I'm there too, but you find me on Instagram. Website, I already gave that, coachwithqueen.com. And email address is queenellahomes@gmail.com for any inquiries related to real estate or events. Maybe if you want to be a speaker, you feel like you have something of value to offer, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm open to that as well.
All right. Yeah, we're going to get some speakers too.
Okay.
But yeah, I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You gave like $1 million worth of game.
I appreciate it.
And I think, well, I know someone's going to be able to go out and buy their home just off the information you gave. So I
hope so.
Thank you for giving all the information out and coming on the show today. It's been another great episode of the Value Menu Podcast, where value is given at no expense to you. I'm your host, Moses Andre.
Queenella Gibson.
And it's a wrap.
Yes. Thank you.
That was a great episode.